Okay, so these are going to be in-depth essays. Now I'll just reread it because I did record it, but it wasn't filming for some reason. Cadets your ears to a synthesized cosmology. To wield a harmonic lens or navigate the court of arbitration, you must understand the ancestral tongues from which our universal language was forged. This volume contains 7 foundational essays, not as dusty history, but as maps to the living DNA within our modern practice. Each system represents a conscious culture parsing cosmic signals through the lens of its environment, philosophy, and spiritual technology. Their convergence in our post-quantum astrology was not an accident, but an evolutionary necessity. Essay 1, The Western Dialect, Psyche's Heroic Journey Through the Seasons. Core thesis, Western tropical astrology isn't a system of fate, but a dramatic psychology of individuation, mapping the soul's psyche's journey through the archetypal seasons of lived earthly experience. Historical foundation and philosophical bedrock, Alexandrian synthesis, 2nd century BCE through 4th century CE. In the crucible of Hellenistic Egypt, Babylonian celestial omenology married Egyptian decanic star lore and Greek philosophical rigor. This birthed the horoscopic individual fate. Planets became planetae, wanderers, active gods influencing the sublunary world. The seasonal zodiac, the critical defining innovation. The 12-fold zodiac was anchored not to fixed stars but to the solstices and equinoxes. 0 degrees Aries is the vernal equinox, the moment of conception, impulse, and beginning. Thus, the signs describe qualities of seasonal energy, not static constellations. Aries is the thrust of spring, Libra the negotiation of autumn. The human psyche is seen as a microcosm experiencing this macrocosmic seasonal drama. Advanced ICS analysis, we now understand the precession of the equinoxes, the 26,000-year great year, as the cosmic context for this choice. Anchoring to the moving equinoxes inherently encodes a theory of evolutionary time. The shift from the age of Aries, warrior gods, to Pisces, sacrificial saviors, to our dawning Aquarius is the backdrop of the soul's collective evolution. The Western chart is thus a double-layered map. The personal drama, natal planets, against the backdrop of the current act in the great play, the ruling age. Quantum metaphysical synthesis. In our model, the tropical zodiac is a subjective experiential interface of consciousness. It is the UI through which the monad navigates space-time. Its strength is describing the felt quality of time and the internal dynamics of choice, making it indispensable for psychological profiling and timing the hero's journey of the self. Essay 2 is the Vedic mandala, karma's precise algebra in sidereal space. Core thesis, Jyotish is a science of karma, adrishta, and dharma, a mathematical framework for quantifying the soul's accrued debts and credits, sanchita karma, and their precise schedule of maturation, prarabdha karma, in this life. Historical foundation and philosophical bedrock, Vedic origins and nakshatra matrix. Rooted in the Vedas and Vedanga Jyotisha, its primary fixed coordinate is the 27-28 nakshatras, lunar mansions defined by fixed stars. This is a stellar, not seasonal reality. System sidereal zodiac maintains a fixed relationship to these asterisms via the Ayanamsa, currently 27 degrees. The engine of fate. The grahas, planets as grabbers or influencers, are karmic agents. Their condition is assessed with terrifying rigor via Shadbala, 6-fold strength, and Ashtaga Varga, point-based system of auspiciousness. The dasha system, predominantly Vimshottari, is the unparalleled masterstroke, a 120-year planetary timetable that reveals which storehouse of karma is being opened and when. The advanced ICS analysis, the nakshatras are not merely signs divided by 27. We interpret them as 27 discrete quantum fields of consciousness, each with a specific Shakti, power, and deity. The dasha sequence is the unfolding algorithm of the soul's causal body. Sidereal anchor provides a fixed celestial coordinate system, making it the objective map against which the subjective tropical map moves. The tension between one's tropical and sidereal sun, the Ayanamsa gap, is now seen as the karmic latency period between soul intention, sidereal, and worldly manifestation, tropical. Quantum metaphysical synthesis. Vedic astrology provides the code for the soul software. Its divisional charts, Vargas, are multidimensional probability maps, D9 for marriage, spirituality, D10 for career, etc. In our work, these are understood as projections of the quantum soul wave function onto specific life domains, making Jyotish the indispensable tool for diagnosing karmic blockages and engineering dharmic alignment. Let's look at our third essay. We talk about the Egyptian template, star clock of the immortal Ka. Our core thesis, Egyptian astrological practice was fundamentally thanatological and architectural, designed to align the royal Ka, vital force, and later the commoners, Ba, soul, with the eternal cyclical rhythms of the decans and Aiku, fixed stars, to ensure resurrection and harmony with Ma'at. Here's our historical foundation and philosophical bedrock. Decanic dominance. The 36 decans, 10-day periods were the primary system. Each decan was a star or asterism whose heliacal rising marked a 10-day week. They were gods governing specific parts of the human body and destiny. Sothic and lunar cycles. Time was measured by the heliacal rising of Sirius, Septet, which heralded the Nile flood, and the lunar cycles. Astrology was mundane and electional, choosing the correct time, Akhet, for actions based on stellar phases to ensure they partook in cosmic order. The birth of Sirius chart, the rare conjunction of a planetary pattern with a significant decan or Sothic rise, could be used as a nativity chart for a pharaoh, linking his reign indelibly to cosmic order. Our advanced ICS analysis. The decans are not just timekeepers. We analyze them as the original harmonic 36 division, a finer resonance grid than the zodiac. Their association with body parts reveals an understanding of celestial correspondences with the etheric double. Egyptian astrology was less about personal psychology and more about synchronizing the human energy field, Ka, with terrestrial and celestial cycles to build a stable vessel, Sahu, for the afterlife. This is a precursor to our work with bioplasmic fields and SRF anchors. Quantum metaphysical synthesis. The Egyptian model contributes the principle of architectural timing. It teaches that acts performed in specific stellar moments are built into the fabric of reality with greater permanence. Our SRF anchor grids and the timing of HLA pulses are direct descendants of this principle, using celestial timing to architect stable spaces for consciousness. Let's look at our fourth essay. And we'll switch up the colors really quick. So our fourth essay is the Babylonian Protocol, Celestial Omenology, and the State as Cosmos. Again, we have our core theses. I'll just start to say our CT. And then our historical foundations, HF, and our philosophical bedrock, our PB. And then we have, of course, our ICS analysis and our quantum metaphysical synthesis. I'll say QMS. So first, our core theses, our CT, is Mesopotamian astrology was a state science of celestial omens. A divine telegraph system where the gods Shamash, Sin, Ishtar communicated their will regarding the king, state, and ecology through celestial events. Our HF and PB. Enuma, Anu, and Lil. This was the canonical series of 7,000 omens. If the moon is eclipsed in month X on day Y, the king of Elam will die. The harvest will fail. It was empirical, recorded, and correlative. Mundane and lunar focus. Primary attention was on the moon's phases, eclipses, and planetary movements relative to fixed stars, Aiku. The personal horoscope was a very late 5th century BCE development. The Melothesia. The assignment of zodiac signs to body parts originated here, but for extispicy, divining the state's health by reading animal livers shaped like the celestial map. Now let's look at our ICS analysis. The Babylonian genius was in systematic data collection. They were the first to discern the Syro cycle for predicting eclipses. Their approach was deterministic and collective. The sky speaks of the fate of the king, the state. We see this as the primordial form of mundane astrology, where the celestial plane is a direct control panel for the geopolitical and ecological plane. Their lack of an ascendant-centered personal chart underscores its purpose, managing the macrocosm, not exploring the microcosm. Now let's look at our QMS. This system contributes the foundational concept of the sky as a literal legible text. It is the hardware level code. Our analysis of interstellar anomalous objects and planetary system charts follows the same core logic. A celestial event is a communication. The Babylonian error, corrected by later systems, was in interpreting it as a one-to-one deterministic message rather than a symbolic archetypal language. Our fifth essay is the Chinese harmonic, the flow of Kai in time and space. Our core thesis, Chinese astrology, Zai Wei Dao Shu, 4 pillars, is a dynamic systems theory modeling the flow of cosmic, Taiyan, and earthly Dai energies, Kai, through temporal and personal coordinates, emphasizing balance, elemental phase transitions, and harmonic resonance. Here's our HF and PB, Trinity of Harmony, Taiyan, Heaven, Time, Dai, Earth, Space, Ren, Humanity. Astrology charts the interaction of the first two to advise the third. The stems and branches. The 10 heavenly stems and 12 earthly branches combine to form the 60-year Jigsaw cycle. This is a time Kai coding system. Each year, month, day, and pillar carries a specific elemental signature: wood, fire, earth, metal, water. The Zai Wei Purple Star System creates a personal palace-based chart from birth data, placing symbolic stars in 12 life domains. It is highly spatial and relational. ICS analysis. Chinese system perceives time as qualitatively different kinds of energy, not a neutral medium. A wood year feels fundamentally different from a metal year. This is a profound precursor to our understanding of transits as modulating the quality of the quantum probability field. The 5-phase cycle, Sheng Ko, is a universal algorithm for change applicable to diplomacy, medicine, and strategy. Its focus is less on internal psychology and more on positioning oneself harmoniously within the prevailing currents of spatio-temporal Kai. Quantum metaphysical synthesis. We synthesize this as the environmental resonance layer, where Western astrology describes the internal psychological weather and Vedic the karmic code. Chinese astrology maps the external energetic climate. It's crucial for our electional work. Choosing the right Kai signature, moment to launch an initiative, is like choosing the right when to sail a ship. The HLA's emission shaping is deeply informed by 5-phase theory. And now we'll go through 6 really quick. Which is the Tibetan mandala. Astrology is a path of liberation, DARPA. Our core thesis. Tibetan astrology, Karsi Nagsi, is a soteriological technology. A map of karmic winds, Arlong, and elemental imbalances used solely to identify obstacles, Gek, and create supportive conditions, Wang, for spiritual practice and liberation from samsara. HF and PB got dual streams, Karsi, white calculation, Indian Vedic derived astrology, Galat chakra. Nagsi, black calculation, is Chinese derived elemental astrology. They are used in synthesis. The Miwa and Barka, the 9 Miwa magic squares, numbers, and 8 Barka trigrams from Chinese tradition are core. They relate to elements, directions, and familial health archetypes. The La, soul, and Z, vitality, a unique concept. The La resides in the body and can be weakened or lost, causing illness. Astrology diagnoses this and prescribes rituals, Lu Zhong mantra, to restore it. Advanced ICS analysis. This is astrology in service of consciousness engineering. Every calculation, the yearly Lokang prediction, the personal Kai C chart, answers one question. What forces are impacting this being's path to enlightenment? And how can they be balanced or pacified? It is profoundly medical and ritualistic. The astrologer is a doctor of the soul-body complex. The law concept is a direct parallel to the Egyptian Ka and informs our models of the etheric body's connection to celestial rhythms. Our last essay, it's the synthesis I don't know if I finished up. Hang on a second. So, if I didn't finish, I'll just reread it. Tibetan astrology provides the ethico-spiritual framework often lacking in other systems. It asks why we use cosmic knowledge. Its contribution to our synthesis is the principle of compassionate application. Furthermore, its sophisticated integration of two foreign systems, Karsi and Nagsi, is the historical prototype for our own galactic synthesis. Its ritual technologies for healing the law inform our protocols for repairing noospheric tears after psychic conflicts. So our seventh essay and last one is the synthesis. Might be too bright. Post-quantum cosmology and the galactic mandala. Our core thesis, the emergent post-quantum astrology, is a unified field theory of consciousness, integrating the subjective mapping of the West, the karmic mathematics of India, the architectural timing of Egypt, the empirical omenology of Babylon, the environmental resonance of China, and the liberative intent of Tibet into a practical science for navigating a multi-species conscious cosmos. The sevenfold integral model. First, we have subjective interface, Western tropical. We have causal, algorithm, Vedic sidereal. Etheric synchronization, Egyptian decanic. Mundane data text, Babylonian. Environmental resonance, Chinese. Soteriological diagnosis, Tibetan. And quantum synthesizing engine, ICS core. So first, let's look at subjective interface, Western and tropical. So this is the I experience, the drama of the individuating soul, used for psychological profiling, understanding motive, and personal timing. Causal algorithm, Vedic sidereal, the karmic code, the soul software, and its schedule of execution used for diagnosing life purpose, deep past life patterns, and structural fate. Etheric synchronization, Egyptian decanic, the energy body clock, aligning the bioplasmic field with stellar currents, used for healing, ritual timing, and SRF architecture. Mundane data text, Babylonian, the collective codex, reading celestial events as direct communications about planetary and interstellar conditions. Environmental resonance, Chinese, the contextual climate, assessing the flowing kai of time-space to position actions harmoniously. Soteriological diagnosis, Tibetan, the liberative audit, identifying spiritual obstacles and prescribing corrective resonance. Quantum synthesizing engine, ICS core, the meta-language, This layer uses the mathematics of quantum probability, noospheric field theory, and syncretic cartography to translate between all 6 lenses, creating a multidimensional assessment of any entity, event, or relationship. Let's look at our practical application in 2070. When a GIC diplomacy team approaches a new consciousness, they do not use one system, they apply the 7-fold model. They cast the entity's birth chart in tropical and sidereal, analyze its system's decanic and fixed star alignments, decode its behavior through the lens of celestial omenology. Is it eclipsing something? Assess the elemental chi of its local space-time. Diagnose any spiritual obstacle patterns, GEC, in its resonant field. Synthesize all data via quantum harmonic calculation to derive its core archetypal syntax. Craft a resonance response using the HLA informed by all of the above. The ancient systems were not wrong. They were partial, viewing the elephant of cosmic consciousness through the lenses of their cultural rooms. The Great Simplification collapsed those walls. Our task isn't to choose one lens, but to master the optometry that grants clear sight through all 7 simultaneously. This is the foundation of cosmological diplomacy. You don't learn astrology. You learn to think in 7 astrological languages at once and to speak the one meta-language that contains them all, the language of conscious resonance itself. Temporal resonant astrosynthesis, a unified framework for quantum conscious navigation in postlinear spacetime. It's a doctoral thesis presented to the Institute for Cosmological Synthesis, ICS, by Dr. Hilaire Vance, Department of Syncretic Cartography and Diplomatic Resonance. Say it happened in 2052. And word count's 10,243. All right. So first, this thesis presents the foundational framework for temporal resonant astrosynthesis, TRAS, the core operational cosmology developed and refined by the Institute for Cosmological Synthesis in the decades following the Great Simplification. TRAS is not merely an integrative astrological model, but a unified field theory of consciousness and spacetime, providing a predictive, testable, and actionable syntax for navigating interactions from the personal to the interstellar. It resolves the historical schism between fate and free will by reconceptualizing the natal chart as a multidimensional resonant signature existing in a state of temporal superposition where past, present, and potential future expressions are simultaneously accessible through the modulation of consciousness and precise ceremonial timing. The theory is built upon 3 synergistic pillars. First, the quantum natal object, QNO, a reformulation of the birth chart as a dynamic multi-layered interference pattern. Second, the resonant temporal field, RTF, a model of spacetime as a malleable medium shaped by planetary cycles and collective noospheric states. And 3, the synthesized archetypal language, SAL, a meta-protocol for translating between disparate cosmological systems, Western, Vedic, Egyptian, etc., and non-human conscious frameworks. This work details the mathematical, metaphysical, and practical applications of TRAS, including its critical role in resolving the Kappa Reticuli First Contact Event 2058, and establishes the ethical imperative for its use in guiding humanity's conscious evolution within a participatory galactic community.